So we need a lot more people to start trying this Age of Sigmar game out. And we feel like the best way to do that is to take a free app and we're gonna like rebuild it, and then we're gonna like charge a lot of money for it.
Okay.
What do you think?
Is it actually going to be different?
Well, you write a list and you like see the units and stuff. And I guess no, it's not.
So it's not going to be different. Okay.
But we'll charge money for it.
Oh.
And that'll get more people to try it out.
Sometimes, I guess.
Hey guys, welcome to another Lords of War Games and Hobbies video. I'm back from my vacation. I hope you could tolerate Jay last week going solo.
It's a lot of me.
A lot of memes.
Delivering interesting news.
There was some good news actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't great news for some people.
No.
It was interesting news.
It was news that we knew was coming.
Yeah. Yep.
And yeah, today we wanted to just kind of jump onto the Warhammer community article from yesterday. You know, chatting about how the new, well, basically what's going to happen to Stormforge or whatever it's called.
I don't know. Yeah. The Warhammer, the current Warhammer Age of Sigmar app.
So what was it before, basically?
I don't know what it was called, but
they changed the name a couple times.
Azure was the original.
Azure was the original name.
So they AOS Games Workshop seems to test things in one environment and then apply it to the other environment. So between AOS and 40K,
it kind of bounces.
They've been bouncing back and forth. So Age of Sigmar had, I want to say in the second year, one of the years, maybe it was year 2, they launched something called Azure, which was their army building app, and it was either free or very cheap, like $2 or $1.50.
Yeah, it was really cheap. Yeah,
and that price has stayed for a long time. They've updated it and changed it. They relaunched it, but that was great. I remember at the time I was like, "This is the future. I want to have all my units on my phone, and when I play, I can just swipe through them, and very easy." And Age of Sigmar War Scrolls are nice and succinct because it's just like you got the little circle with the hit, wound, move, battle shock values in them. There's only 4 things to remember. And
let's be like, it wasn't, you didn't get every rule for free. So like you still needed to buy an army book to get like the faction rules and all the.
If you wanted to really play the army, you still had to buy the book. But if you wanted to just play and see the raw abilities of units, you could just do it. And you, to your heart's content. So, because it was all in there, you could look anything up. So,
and I like that. Like as a consumer, I really like. It
was very good.
I like that a lot because it didn't cost you anything to browse. And this has always been in my entire hobby career. I love browsing, like you know, looking at war scrolls and planning and plotting. And I feel like a lot of people are like that. They want to kind of check things out.
It actually, from what we've noticed over the years. Same thing when 40K 10th came out. I think all of the index, everything was free for the beginning. I think the app was also free, completely free for the first little. And they're going to do the same thing here. And people were like writing tons of lists, and they were like coming in and asking about units and box kits and things because they were like, I have this idea. And I need these many of this or that, and this is good again, etc. So.
Let's be honest, it was a great way to, like, as a retailer, putting on my retailer hat, of course, being like, oh, like, I'm finally talked this person into getting into Age of Sigmar, giving it a try, picking up a kit, and, you know, money conscious wise, like if they're blowing a couple $100 on a Spearhead or a Vanguard or whatever you want to call it, they didn't need 100% to buy that army book day one.
True.
Because you could be like, you know, go check the app out. You can look at your war scrolls, and you can kind of like plan what you want to do there a little bit before you know pick up your army book. So it was a nice easy gateway that didn't cost anything extra.
Yes. Yeah. So and then they I don't know if it was in AOS 2 or 3, they updated it and added some more functions. They did the thing with the codexes with the code, which was fine. It was like an add-on.
I like that.
If you bought the book, you put your code in, and now you had the book in the app. And I think that was good.
Yep.
Because prior to that, you did have to buy a digital copy for that same feature, so that was like kind of clunky. And you know, I used to work like IT for some years, and so I'm aware that sometimes, like as consumers, you look at it, the app, and you're like, this is nonsense. Why can't they get this? Why isn't it working like this? And it has to do with whatever they started with. So if they built the app on a certain foundation, then it may be very difficult to add functions later. So sometimes they have to actually start it over,
start brand new again, which is very costly.
It costs a lot of development time and money, and blah blah blah. So so they did that when they did the second version of the app. they built in that extra function, and it was great. I don't think anyone really had an issue. I don't think the current app is great, actually. I don't really understand why it needs to be changed, but...
I would also argue that prior to the more modern update, like the most recent app that we've experienced in like second and third, a lot more people were actually still using War Scroll Builder.
Yes.
Because it was just a little more intuitive and easy to use.
Well, War Scroll Builder was like just a raw builder.
Yeah.
Like, there was no
Army List Builder, yeah.
There was no like extra rules stuff in it. Like, whereas the AOS app had like you could tap on a rule and it would tell you what it is. Whereas War Scroll Builder was just like a pure thing that added up points.
And they basically bought that.
Yeah.
Or acquired it somehow.
They did, yeah.
And then they basically just
one guy who made
put it in the app almost. Like the app kind of felt a lot like War Scroll Builder.
Yeah, they probably used some of its just how it, some of the data already had and just reskinned it a bit. Anyway, so fast forward, and then 40K 10th, they redid the 40K app again because it had gone through a few iterations.
Yeah,
and
none of them very good.
Yeah, for some reason 40K was much more clunky.
Yeah,
and I don't know if it has to do with all the unit upgrades,
probably
and all that stuff.
Probably, yeah.
It is more complex for sure. So they made that app. I've used the app. It's pretty good at what it's supposed to do. I really did like when it was free.
Shocking.
And so what they do is they do this thing where they go, and again, correct us if we're wrong. Some of you may use the apps a lot more than we do. Play more games because we're just making stuff up right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
From what I recall, so what they do now is you have one army on the fly that is free.
Yeah, that's right.
What I believe, if it's a Codex army, you don't have access to it's pretty limited.
As soon as an army book comes out, they basically taken away the free features.
So you're still one list.
Yeah.
And then it's limited even more if the Codex is out now. They want you to
I don't even think you can look at the rules for the units.
It's like
completely paywalled.
Yeah, it's very paywalled. And also because it's 40K, it costs double.
Hell yeah.
Just because or something, it's like $9 or $10. And I think they've also added a layer. Again, correct us.
It's free. Is it free with a Warhammer sub? Plus sub? Still?
I think you have to buy both. I think you have to pay a monthly fee and buy the Warhammer
you get double
sub.
tapped?
I think you do. I don't know.
Moly.
Again, it's.
Let us know in the comments.
This is the problem actually because it's not explained very well. At least in the Warcom articles or in the app itself, it doesn't. I've always struggled with this. There isn't they don't seem to have a page that says you buy this and this happens. It seems like they want you to buy everything, which. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, the companies. Always been this way, but even more, they become more cognizant recently. It's like they want you to be a Games Workshop hobbyist, like a Warhammer hobbyist.
Yeah, they want you in their environment.
They want you want to stay in your environment, play all of our games, and this is just another push towards that. Where it's like now you got to get your Plus subscription with us as well, and that'll give you all these access to all these things. And
I mean they see it as this is the sort of problem that I think we struggle with. Maybe Kirsten and I more than, or people of our vintage, I like to use that word a lot, that it's the trying to run it like a video game, but it's not a video game. So that's the weird thing, is you can kind of get away with monthly subs on some things because that's part of if it's a game like World of Warcraft or something, they're always adding stuff and changing stuff, and it's that live service thing.
Let's use that example. Let's also use the cable versus Netflix example,
oh, sure,
right?
Yeah.
What's different about what Warhammer's doing is they're just trying to charge you an extra fee on top of everything.
Correct. Yeah.
Whereas Netflix replaces cable for some people.
Yes.
World of Warcraft is the fee you pay every month to play the game, and there's nothing else to buy.
Yeah.
Whereas what Games Workshop wants you to do now is they want you to pay that fee. And also keep buying those army books every time they come out.
So this
as well,
is and the strange thing about it, that's a good point that you made about is in theory, if you just buy your Codex for your army, which is whatever it is, $60, $70 or whatever it costs these days, you actually don't need anything else. You don't actually need the app at all.
No, you don't.
Yeah. Well, we're so used to having things on our phone conveniently. It's weird.
Yeah.
That there's this extra just to get a fancy calculator and.
So Jay is joking. He's like, I'll go back to pen and paper. Just watch me.
I said that in our group chat. I said, you know what? I'm just gonna go full paper pen.
Yeah.
And what's my opponent gonna do? I'll be like, I have my rule book.
Yep.
I wrote it down.
Yep.
What am I supposed to do? If there's errors, sorry. They priced me out.
You should have got a better job.
I think. You know, it's funny when you survey or you read online comments or in person. It's a lot of people actually don't dislike the monthly sub thing.
No.
If it was just more, I don't know, streamlined, less gougey, like I've heard a lot of people say, look, if they could charge me a little more, but if I got every codex, for example,
and this is
or whatever.
As a retailer, are you just you're ready to move off the books now?
I mean, I think we are.
I think we are. I think we're at that point now where, you know, maybe a year or two ago, I'd have been like, the book revenue is still nice to have, and you know, I personally still like the hardback books. They're really nice, but they get replaced so quickly now.
Yeah.
I'm starting to come around more on it would be kind of nice if we just had like a monthly fee and you just got everything.
Yeah, and like you know, with the books too, they get replaced like. It depends. If you get unlucky, obviously, World Eaters, Master Militarum, even My Cities of Sigmar,
Flesh Eater Courts,
even Flesh Eater Courts, or you know, when you get less than a year use out of a book, it does. You're like, what was the point of getting this? You know, and again, if you play 3 times a week, you'll feel like, no, I got my value, no problem. But you know, I think there's it's that cone.
It's that 1%.
It's that cone again, where the majority of people over here play like once a month at best or whatever, right? Yeah. So you definitely feel it. And look, the books are beautiful. I don't think there's any problem with even what you pay for them. They're gorgeous books, but it just needs to be. I don't know. Either make it last.
They're asking the most money they've ever asked for a product that has the least amount of shelf life that it's ever had. Right. Yes. So that's where the calculus
and it's functionally the same as it's been for a long time now.
Yeah.
It's the pages are nicer, the pictures are nicer, but the contents is basically the same.
Yeah.
So I think they need to really rethink that and maybe just, you know, maybe make you can Netflix it or whatever it is. You can throw out a number, maybe 15 Canadian or something, and now you get maybe it's a rotation. Maybe you get access to only a certain number of books at a time.
Maybe all books should just be limited edition.
I think so. I think if you really want the book with printed, then maybe it's a special book. Maybe it only comes in the box sets, whatever.
Yeah,
they don't have to print many of them, and then everything else is like digital. And then they can then have a great use case. I mean, they won't. They have a great argument to then charge maybe like quite a bit less because they're like, well, we're not printing these anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Now they would start there and then incrementally raise it back up.
Yeah.
Because that's why. Yeah. Why would you lower your blood pressure, or why would you raise it so that I can lower it?
Yeah. No, it's they're kind of at a bit of a forked road with the books and the app and everything like that. I feel like they're
so to be clear, the new AOS app relaunching on the 15th of July and not the 13th.
2 days after the box comes out.
And our friend who's a project manager made the point, if there's IT problems, you want it to be on a weekday, which is true. Still weird though. Maybe launch it a few days before. I don't know. It is using the same platform as the 40K app currently, and it makes sense because they've written the new AOS edition to use the same keyword engine and system that 40K has, which again, from a game standpoint, is going to be good.
Fantastic.
You're going to like it. But long story short, AOS, in our opinion, is a fantastic product that still needs more. It needs to be a little bit more of a loss leader. It needs a little more help. I think Games Workshop treats it like it's still like this banging IP, but I think compared to 40K, it's just not.
Well, I almost feel like they've admitted out loud that it's not, in a weird way, like in a whisper. Like they're fixing the game so much.
That's true.
And relaunching it, and we've seen the player bases drop off and stuff like that. The game is not in a healthy state for the average person at the end of 3rd edition, and if your goal truly is to lower the shelf for people and make it very approachable, like it once was, like a very approachable game.
Early AOS was very easy to get into.
And
refreshingly easy.
Refreshingly easy, yeah. And making rules free and making that shelf super low. Now, I will preface everything we've just said with the fact that all the Spearhead rules are basically perma-free.
Right.
On the app. So the nice thing is, if you do want to be a casual player and just play Spearhead and not go beyond that, that's a great move by them. But they're banking a lot on that catching on and being a sustainable way to play, right?
Yeah.
So that's their calculated gamble, that the low shelf game version of Spearhead catches on and is accepted by the community. Otherwise, if it's just full fourth, that's the kind of way that everybody's wanting to play. The shelf actually got higher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to play matched. I mean, I don't know. I wonder. See, this is again where I wish they were a little more clear on some things, and maybe, because I think they said that the other incentive to going the app route, because let's be honest, like Chris and I are like I have a feeling I'll probably subscribe to it or whatever, because I'm so used to the AS1 being so cheap, so there's a bit of discussion about like, but with handbook in there every year, apparently it sounds like,
yeah, I mean,
that's one less, that's $60.
It was hinted at,
like you're like not having to spend.
Now that's a wait and see moment where it's like, do we get all the handbook stuff in there, or is it just part of it?
I think they've designed a handbook to be to just be scenarios and a few changes, rather than, because they've been like printing the whole rule set and all the other junk in it and reselling the same. Yeah. Anyway.
That would be good.
Maybe, yeah.
Oh, excuse me. If that's if that full handbook, which was costing us like $65 a year, becomes my Warhammer TV Plus or thing or whatever,
it's just going into Warhammer Plus.
I'm just moving my money somewhere else. I'm completely content with that, and I think maybe there's more value there even to be had.
Maybe.
But then again, once again, like for match play people, that's great. But match play people make up maybe like 5-10% of the people buying.
It's kits. A really you just right? Like, why can't you just make it just make it really don't you want to just make it easy and so simple for so many people to try your game? I don't know. It is. Yeah, the tricky thing is too is like although I mean Spearhead's going to change the game. I know we talk at nauseam about Spearhead, but I think we do really believe in it, and I think that's the real crutch, because I was thinking like, because like a lot of new players come in and they read everything online and they just assume that match play is like that's how people play, and they get set up for that. So then we have these conversations in the store. Sometimes new people come in and they're like, oh, what do I need? And you're like, you almost have a sigh, because you're like, well, it's not as simple as just buying this book or whatever. You need this, and you should subscribe to that, and da-da-da. But if you can funnel people into Spearhead, and if that's always free, then that's all good. So anyway, So do you guys use the 40K app already? Do you pay for that? Because if you do, then it's the same thing.
Yeah, I don't think it would cost you any more, right?
Do you like it? No.
In theory, it might not cost you any more.
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if it's a separate fee or not.
Yeah.
But I mean, if it's all under one umbrella, then I guess that would be pretty reasonable. I do think that we need a digital Codex Revolution, though. That's like,
that's going to be one. That's one where like Games Workshop's like history works against it in a weird way. Like
we've always done it this way, so we're going to continue.
Yeah, for sure. And I agree to some extent. Like I wouldn't want to see them lose books entirely, because it's like D&D. It's like there's something about having the book. Yeah. And kind of that physical nature of it that I think is important in a tactile hobby. And it's such a part of Games Workshop's history, like the Warhammer Army books, like especially for my nostalgia kicking in. But I think, like we discussed in this video, like I think there are ways for them to keep books around, but in a more like splashy kind of way, and not
I mean, look, if you go this route where the rules are always digital and it's just the story and the pictures, now like this is another discussion. A lot of people make this point. They're like, well, why bother printing the rules? I'm like, well, because the books don't sell. Like the story, the narrative books. I hate to like poo-poo on this little topic where people are like, well, they need to do more narrative play, and I'm like, you are right. Maybe they need to make more narrative play that's cheaper, but generally speaking, the things like Dawnbringer and all these like Crusade this and Story that, these things don't sell for that.
No, they don't.
And you'll see it because there'll be a series of 4 or 5 books telling this like really amazing story over like across all these characters and personalities, and it'll be like 4 or 5 books, and one will sell really well because it has certain rules in it that are busted, and the rest will just not. Like
that's another good video. Maybe we'll do a video on that. The end of edition books, because it's kind of a cynical exercise too, because I think they're great products, but they come out right at the end when everybody knows.
They should be like mid-edition or something like that. Like, why even bother releasing them at the end?
It's very interesting. So like it's almost hard to even like rate it in a way, because it's like it's like a product that comes out and it's like destined to fail in a weird way.
I mean, look, they could reduce the code. They could have, for AOS, for example, they could have 4 books: an Order, Death, Chaos, and Destruction book that has all the faction fluff and pictures in it, and then you just have a few copies on their shelf for the people that really want to deep dive and read about all that, and not worry. And then the rules can be all free or something, or maybe this is a way to put cool special cards in White Dwarf magazines. I don't know. There's other ways to do it.
Cool. What do you guys think? Are you excited about the new app? Are you disappointed? Are you and please, when you comment on those things, also let us know if you have played or already play AOS, or you're like a person looking from the outside
That's
in,
true.
because I think context is really helpful in those comments.
Yeah.
It gives us a lot of really good feedback that way. And then just the typical, like, if you guys want to support us, you can buy things from our shop, which we appreciate. You can check out our Patreon, which is in the link below, and just a like and subscribe helps us out a ton.
Thanks.
Until next time, cheers.
Bye.